Wrestling fans, to be completely honest with you, before we even get into Smackdown Live, there's a big announcement that we need to make. And that is that Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, and all the writers on Monday Night Raw need to take a stroll down to King Booker's house and have him give you a five-time spin-a-rooney, because Monday Night Raw, wrestling fans, hit another low last night. Wow. Again, the show continues to drop into the deepest, darkest depths. It's failing. It's dwindling. This report, according to Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online, is stating Raw dropped another 4% off of last week's Modern Era record low, with just a 2.19 million viewer average last night. The audience started off ahead of last week, but it fell throughout the show, with both the lowest second hour in modern history and the third hour falling from that was the lowest hour in modern history. This is how it follows. 8 p.m., 2.35 million viewers. 9 o'clock, 2.19 million viewers. And, of course, the final hour, which is always the least amount of viewers, because who can stay up for 3 hours of Monday Night Raw with the television that they give us each and every week? They pulled in a 2.05 million viewers. And that's sad, considering we got a TLC matchup last night on Monday Night Raw with Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins. Now, what this tells you is, not saying that Monday Night Raw was a tremendous show or a fantastic show or anything of that nature, but what this does tell you is Monday Night Raw was a little bit better last night, and it was. But when you have consistent shows throughout 3-4 months at a time, and you run your audience off, they're not going to know when you put on a good one, or when you put on somewhat of a good show, which in WWE's eyes, that was last night's Monday Night Raw. Ratings doesn't show it. But, yes, Vince McMahon, take a stroll down King Booker's house and have him give you a 5-time lowest rating of all time spin-a-rooney. Now, I just found that a little funny to some degree. I don't usually come on here and spill out ratings and that kind of stuff, but after 5 times being the lowest of all time, look, I just had to give that to you, wrestling fans. But now, let's dive into Smackdown Live, the true A show on the main roster, like we all know. And it's something that the WWE just needs to get through their head. And they did a tremendous job tonight. Honestly, the writers did a tremendous job giving an opportunity to a 205 Live star in Mustafa Ali. He's going to look fantastic going back to the 205 Live brand now. since he was in the ring with Daniel Bryan, that contest, absolutely fantastic. I would love to see that contest again, honestly, with Daniel Bryan and Mustafa Ali. Quite frankly, it's a shame that we had so many commercial breaks in it, even if there was that little screen up on top for us to watch during the commercial break through one of them. Still had the commercial break. If these two competitors went out there and it was on pay-per-view, absolutely fantastic. It was a beautiful start to SmackDown Live. Love seeing it. SmackDown opened up with that matchup and Daniel Bryan coming out. This time, the WWE Universe isn't sheep. This time, we are peasants. We're parasites. We're things that just latch on to whoever the next thing is. Instead of the yes movement, now we're sitting on the couch of AJ Styles' house. The next best thing that's here now. The thing everybody's grabbing onto. What he's alluding to. Absolutely fantastic. The work that WWE's doing with Daniel Bryan right now and what they did with him, and that led into Mustafa Ali coming out and saying, "What's wrong with you? What's happened to you? You used to be somebody we looked up to, the underdog, always fighting, taking on everybody." That is how we got into the business, why we got into the business. Everybody in the 205 Live brand, that's why we're there. Because of people like you, because of you, Daniel Bryan, everything that you had to go through, things of that nature. It was absolutely fantastic how they built that up. And then they brought it up to the matchup. It was just great. Tremendous opening. Now, it did have a few nosedives on SmackDown tonight. I will say that. When it came to the rap, that was kind of cringe. I'm going to be honest. I really didn't care for Usos, Bar, and New Day's segment. Like I stated on Twitter last week, these competitors really need to stick with wrestling. This is the type of rivalry and needs to stick with wrestling. Tremendous inside the squared circle. The Bar out there trying to rap is just downright cringeworthy. We all know the Usos can go out there and rap. That was entertaining, but sticking them up against the Bar, that's just cringe. But whatever the case, it is going to be a tremendous contest this Sunday at TLC between the Bar, the New Day, and the Usos. Who will walk out victorious? I think it's going to come down to the Bar and the Usos. Honestly, I hope the Usos pull out the victory. One thing that WWE that was different for SmackDown, and I honestly really like that they did this, and it really makes SmackDown stand out a little bit more than Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, some people might say, well, Monday Night Raw did do the one commercial thing, up here with the picture. Yeah, they did that. They did that 1 week, and then they didn't do it anymore. SmackDown, that's pretty much SmackDown's. Another thing that WWE did for SmackDown, which I really enjoyed, was they announced the matches for TLC at the beginning of the show. Right after Daniel Bryan and Mustafa Ali's matchup, they announced everything that was going to be happening at TLC. We are accustomed to having that happen right before the main event at the go-home show to the pay-per-view. Now, some might say, well, they only did it this time because Charlotte and Asuka are the main event tonight, or was the main event tonight. So that's why they did that. And they wanted to save a lot of time for Charlotte and Asuka. Okay, you make a good point. But to me, it kind of stood out, and we don't usually see that. So in the future, if anybody is listening to this in WWE, keep doing that, because that makes Smackdown different than Raw, because Raw always does it towards the end, or they spread it out all throughout the night. Smackdown, it was like they did it one time, unless it was like one of the big main matches, like AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. But, you know, that's just my take on it. Now, speaking of a match that was added for TLC, Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio in a chairs matchup. I understand why they made it a chairs matchup. I get it. But it's absolutely ridiculous. Chairs match. You know, I'm glad there's another match that has a stipulation in it. But the ones that need stipulations in them, to me, don't have stipulations. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, no stipulation. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, no stipulation. It's simply championships on the line. That's just my opinion. Now, it does fit because Randy Orton has been viciously attacking Rey Mysterio each and every week with the steel chair, taking off his mask, doing numerous things. I get that. Except this week when Rey Mysterio got his hands on Randy Orton with the steel chair, which I kind of like, because you can't have the underdog always get beat up on the way to the pay-per-view, especially when you know the underdog's going to lose. And there's no doubt in my mind Randy Orton's going to pick up the victory at TLC. So, yeah, Rey Mysterio had to have some type of offense tonight. It's just my opinion. But chairs match, I mean, it's just, I thought they were a little ridiculous back when they had them back in like 2009 and 2010, you know, and things of that nature. But here we go again, and here's another chairs match. The only thing they haven't named, made official, is a plain ladder match by itself. And speaking of some more matches that I think might be added to this pay-per-view is Rusev versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. And, of course, Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe. Those matches not named yet. I think they will be because of what happened tonight. Tonight, tag team encounter. Rusev picks up the victory, pinning Shinsuke Nakamura for a 1-2-3 in that tag team matchup. Which means, in WWE's world, one victory, he gets a title shot. TLC, he will get it against Nakamura, in which I really think Nakamura will be victorious at TLC. I don't see the title changing to Rusev Day. Yes, I had to say it like that because that's the only way you can say Rusev Day, is the way Aiden English says it. But just have to see where WWE goes with that. But before we go into anything else with this show tonight, don't forget to become a subscriber today. Be much appreciated. If you are into gaming, I did a WWE 2K gameplay today, live on the channel right now. 2K19. Different than what I usually do here on the channel. So go and check that out. And also, don't forget to check out my Raw review from last night as well. Be much appreciated. And the links to those will be at the end of this podcast. So click on those at the end of this podcast and become a subscriber today as well. You'll be able to do that at the end of this, or scroll down and click that subscribe button and the bell. Be much appreciated. Now, Smackdown. Continuing on with what they gave to us tonight. Quite frankly, really the only thing else that was of any importance was Asuka and Charlotte. I mean, I guess you could say The Miz and Shane McMahon was important, but honestly, that is the worst part of SmackDown right now. The worst. There's nothing intriguing about The Miz and Shane McMahon. Nothing. The Miz and Shane McMahon are just cringe-worthy at its best. Shane McMahon turning heel on The Miz. That is what we are seeing. The fans are booing Shane McMahon because he will not be a tag team partner with The Miz. And it's going to lead to The Miz versus Shane McMahon. Cringe. Whatever. And finally, of course, Asuka versus Charlotte in the main event. Asuka officially, quote unquote, gets her revenge to some degree on Charlotte. To some degree. Now, some of you are probably saying when I say that, thinking when I say that, what in the world are you talking about? She didn't get any revenge on Charlotte. Charlotte lost by disqualification. She didn't get a clean 1, 2, 3 victory. She didn't make Charlotte tap out. Of course she didn't. This is WWE. This is WWE. And Vince McMahon is not going to have that happen, especially on SmackDown. So, what happens? Well, of course, that's why I said quote unquote. So what happens? Charlotte gets disqualified by bringing in the kendo stick and beating up Asuka for a short period of time with it. And the man, Becky Lynch. Well, Becky Lynch gets a few whacks in. And one thing that I did notice was you can tell WWE's being very careful with Becky Lynch right now. No one got near her face when they were laying in those whacks on her. It was either on her back or it was either on her leg. That was it. Nowhere near the face, nowhere up here, nothing. It was lower back or on the leg. That was it. They are keeping her safe as they can, up until TLC. I just saw that when they were doing that final segment. But Asuka, quote unquote, got some revenge tonight because she waylaid Charlotte and Becky Lynch with the kendo stick at the end of it. It was a pretty good contest. Another one of those matches I would really like to see without commercial breaks. I mean, whether you're happy with Charlotte breaking Asuka's streak or you're not, they put on a tremendous matchup at WrestleMania 34 at the New Orleans Superdome. And it is something that I would like to see one-on-one without a commercial break again. That is a match I'd like to see again without commercial breaks. Because commercial breaks with some of these matches just puts a damper on them. I mean, it just really does. But that was pretty much SmackDown. I mean, in a nutshell, it smoothed, went over great. AJ Styles cut a tremendous promo on Daniel Bryan, saying he's buying his time. TLC is going to get his hands on him. It's going to tear him apart, take his title back. Kind of a standard AJ Styles promo. But, hey, look, it was great. Making all of us more ready for that title matchup this Sunday. And let's face it, I think when we boil all of TLC's matches down and we look at the matches going into them, you look at SmackDown's matches and Raw's matches. Which ones are you looking forward to the most? SmackDown Live. Guarantee that. But hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, leave me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to do everything that I mentioned at about the middle of this podcast, which is become a subscriber today, and go and check everything else out that you've missed on the channel this week. Don't forget, I will have Jason Funny on the channel for the review of TLC. I'll have another on the road this coming weekend. Be going out to eat with Jason Funny, doing some stuff. It will be fun. Check it out this coming weekend. Be there for you. And of course, don't forget to tune in to everything else that comes onto the channel each and every week for you wrestling fans. And I'm going to try to be doing some more of those gameplays of 2K19 in the future. So look forward to that as well. But until I see you again, this is Webby, and I'll catch you on the other side. Talk to you later.